Hello and welcome to a different unit of the History GCSE, the second unit you'll study in Year 10, which is called Conflict and Tension, the Interwar Years. It's marked by a green textbook. See, this, shall we say, unit of study is all about how the Second World War begins, all the different causes of the Second World War. And the first section focuses on one of those causes. It focuses specifically on the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles was a document signed in 1919, which is the year after the First World War ends. See, the Treaty of Versailles was signed to punish and, shall we say, organise the punishment for Germany for their actions in the war. It was not the only treaty that had been organised after the end of the First World War. However, it is the most significant one and it directly links to the causes of World War II. Now we've subdivided this section up. See, to start, you need to know about the major people involved in creating this treaty to attempt to punish Germany. Because to understand the outcomes of what this treaty says, you need to understand who made it in the first place anyways. So there were lots of people involved in creating the Treaty of Versailles. However, the three main ones, the most powerful, should we say, people or politicians who were present at the signing of this treaty were number one on the left-hand side, David Lloyd George, who was the Prime Minister of Britain. In the middle, for France, we have Georges Clemenceau. And on the right, we have Woodrow Wilson of the USA, President of the USA. See, what you need to know is who they are and what they feel like, which is a really strange idea. See, the First World War caused untold destruction to Europe. It was the first war of such a scale. If I can make it clear sense to you, that wars usually only occur between one or two countries at a time. They would never actually take on, should we say, team v team. And this was the first war where most of the world ended up on a side and there was fighting worldwide, which just had never happened before. So these three had experienced, should we say, different levels of damage during this war. I'll start with the middle guy, Georges Clemenceau. The Prime Minister of France has, should we say, a hatred for Germany. If you look on a map, which unfortunately I don't have on the screen with you, France and Germany are right next to each other. And during the First World War, France experienced a massive and dramatic amount of fighting at the hands of Germany. They are next to each other and they were against each other in the war. So where those two countries met up, there was a, should we say, a fight. There was lots of damage to French earth, farms destroyed, towns destroyed, cities destroyed. There was a massive, dramatic loss of French people who had died in the war, and Georges Clemenceau, his country now had earned much less money and needed to pay loads of money to repair themselves. So Georges Clemenceau was coming into the treaty with hatred in his heart. He wanted to punish the country he believed had damaged France the most, which was Germany. He wanted to punish them for their actions during the war, and he wanted to make sure that France got a lot out of this treaty. That makes sense. See, David Lloyd George on the left-hand side was also heavily affected by the war. Now, luckily, Britain is an island. Hopefully you've noticed that. And the thing is, Britain being an island means it's kind of hard for people to invade. They have to cross water to get here. So actually, Britain had never gotten invaded in the First World War. There was no damage to their cities or towns, but David Lloyd George had been part of the government that sent millions of British soldiers to their deaths. He was also the person who had used millions of Empire soldiers from the British Empire to support this war. He had put lots of money into this war and he had lost millions of people. So the thing is, David Lloyd George didn't have that hatred because his country hadn't really been damaged that badly, but Britain had been bankrupted. See, David Lloyd George wanted to make some money out of this deal. He knew he was a powerful country and he knew that this was an opportunity to extort money so that Britain could recover from the First World War. They put a lot into it, by the way, like in the absolute billions and trillions kinds of amounts of money straight. So he's looking to make money here. And on the right-hand side, we have Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson is the president of the USA. Now I'm going to think about the map again. The USA is miles away from Europe where Germany was fighting. And the thing is, the USA had only joined the First World War towards the end, around 1916, 1917. The USA at this point in time had operated a policy of isolationism, is what they called it, which basically means We only care about the USA. Let's stop caring about other countries. Let's focus on us. And Woodrow Wilson had grown sick and tired of hearing about these wars in Europe across his lifetime, the First World War being the worst of them. Woodrow Wilson was like, right, let's try and settle this for good. I do not want to hear of another war in my lifetime. I want to create peace. I'm going to go to this meeting. I'm going to try and organise some sort of meeting in peace. That means that there will never be a war in Europe again, which means my country will never have to go in and finish it off for them. See, that's what you need to be absolutely sure of for each of these three people. You need to know who they are, what their job is, and what do they want out of the Treaty of Versailles. You also need to be very confident you know the reasons why they want these things. I've helped you a little bit, but the textbook will help you more. Again, it is on your Teams pages ready for you to use. So I urge you, please look on Teams and answer my questions for me. Off you go. Good luck.